All right, hey everyone, we're just getting started here, so bear with me for just a second while we start our coverage. All right, let's do this. Good Sunday afternoon, everyone. It is 5:06 p.m. and we're starting our live streaming coverage as severe weather right on schedule is beginning to impact the area. So let's talk about what's going on. We have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings just recently issued here at 5 o'clock. Therefore, our northern counties, Trumbull and Mercer included. These storms have explosively developed over the last half an hour or so. This line began over Lake Erie as a pretty innocuous line of showers, but as it's moved southward and started to encounter a more favorable environment, we've seen these towers really going up, and we're no doubt seeing some hailstones right now in a good chunk of Trumbull and Mercer, and upstream there's some decent sized hail over towards Geauga County and northern Portage County as well. These warnings that are in effect run until 5:45 for both Trumbull and Mercer, and I suspect we will see additional warnings issued as we head through the rest of the 5 o'clock hour down into Mahoning County, into Lawrence County, and perhaps eventually down into Columbiana County as well. Everyone is under a severe thunderstorm watch. All the counties in yellow, that's a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for the rest of this afternoon and this evening. This includes all of our television viewing area down through all of eastern Ohio, the panhandle of West Virginia, and into almost all of western Pennsylvania, with the exception of the lakeshore counties. But that's the watch. The warnings are issued on a county-by-county basis, and right now, Trumbull and Mercer, the entire counties, are under severe thunderstorm warnings. A lot of times you see these weird, what we call polygons, drawn by the Weather Service offices to with these warnings. They don't necessarily issue entire counties at one time, but we may see things like that over the next couple of hours because just about everyone has about the same chance of seeing severe weather here in the 5 and 6 o'clock hours. I think our window for severe weather will be over the next 2 hours or so, with decreasing chances from north to south as we go deeper into the evening. So yeah, these are big, tall thunderstorms at this point, and yeah, hailstones and an increasing threat for damaging wind gusts as this activity continues sinking to the south. Let's put a loop on this and show you the motion. Everything is, again, really developed rapidly as we've switched into the 5 o'clock hour. So heavy storms now along Route 422 in Trumbull County and heading up towards Auburn in Geauga County, and then heavy thunderstorms over in Mercer County as well. And we're also getting heavy thunderstorms in the northern portions of Trumbull, closer to Mecca and Kinsman, and over towards Greenville in Mercer County, where you see all these bright colors. The purples and pinks, that's a combination of heavy rain, but also some hailstones. The hail potential is pretty big this afternoon. I posted on social media earlier, our area, big hailstones. More than just, the small stuff. That's fairly uncommon. It happens, but not all that frequently. But today's setup is one in which we could see some pretty sizable hailstones, at least an inch in diameter, if not an inch and a half or even 2 inches in diameter. And just to give you a sense as to what those sizes look like, let's bring up this graphic. And hailstones that are over 1 inch in diameter, that's the definition of severe hail. The Weather Service will issue a severe thunderstorm warning if hail is 1 inch in diameter or larger, or winds are expected to be 58 miles per hour or higher. So we could see some ping pong size hail, inch and a half, maybe even up to golf balls. That's an inch and 3/4. Once you get up into 2 inch territory, that's really rare around here. That's the size of hen eggs. Those size hailstones are definitely more common in the southern U.S. and especially out into the plain states. But again, today's setup in eastern Ohio and western PA, one in which these size of hailstones are definitely a possibility. The setup today, we got a dry layer of air aloft above our heads, and that's particularly conducive to bringing down downbursts, strong gusts of wind, but it's also conducive to large hail formation in a setup like we have overhead today. So thanks for joining us, everyone. We started this live stream about 5 or 6 minutes ago. We're going to run this for about half an hour or so, and then we'll have to cut it short as we have the 6 o'clock newscast approaching. If we still have ongoing severe weather after the 6 o'clock newscast, we'll relaunch the live stream at that point. But I encourage everyone, once we end the live stream, probably around 5:40 or so, to be sure and tune in to 21 News at 6. You don't have to watch us on TV. You can watch us online on our apps you can watch our newscasts in many different ways, and I expect severe weather to be ongoing during our newscasts. So it'll be a good idea to check that out either on your television or on the myriad of other ways you can watch our newscast. But we'll run this live stream online for another half an hour or so. We've got some big severe thunderstorms moving in through areas north of Interstate 80 right now. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at Trumbull County first. Heavy rain is pushed into Warren. The worst of the weather is north of Warren right now, closer to Route 87 and Route 88 in the northern parts of Trumbull County. Farmington over to Bristol, some hailstones over towards Johnston in the Kinsman area as well, and then heading across the state line into Mercer County. The hail is probably particularly large right now in central Mercer County, south and east of Greenville. Where you see these pinks and whites, that's probably large hail. In the Fredonia area, heads up, hailstones through here could easily be an inch to an inch and a half in diameter. Lots of dangerous lightning with these as well. That warning in Mercer County runs until 5:45. The one that's in effect for Trumbull County also runs for another half an hour or so until 5:45. And again, even though we have no active warnings to the south, I expect that to change before the 6 o'clock hour in Mahoning County and Lawrence County, and probably eventually down into Columbiana as well. Big mean thunderstorm will also enter Trumbull County here momentarily. That's the one that's over Parkman right now, so heading up towards Cleveland along 422. And also along the Ohio Turnpike, your weather certainly gets worse up into parts of Portage and Geauga counties, and that weather is pushing into our television viewing area as well. So we're going to see a few different rounds of this heavier activity in Trumbull County. And, severe weather or not, the rain is not great news. We've had way too much rain of late. While these storms are not going to be around all night, in any one location, it's a couple of hours, the window for severe weather, but all this heavy rain, even if it only lasts 5 or 10 minutes in any given location, it's all bad news. We've had too much rain of late. Just a moment ago, the Weather Service modified that severe thunderstorm warning for Trumbull County to put a tag on it. That's what you see right here, where it says considerable. That's a tag that the Weather Service can put onto warnings to indicate the level of the threat. A base severe thunderstorm warning doesn't have a tag like that. One level up is a tag that says considerable, and then beyond that, destructive. And we don't see those kind of tags on severe thunderstorm warnings all that often, so you got to really pay attention whenever the Weather Service does show those tags. So hail and damaging winds are primary threats over the next couple of hours. Taking a look at the hail algorithm here, it's not picking up on our hailstones just yet, or at least, there we go. So everywhere we see these patchy colors, that's where the hail is most prominent right now. So I would say central Mercer County has the best chance right now of seeing hail at least an inch in diameter, if not an inch and a half or so. That's right around the Fredonia area and coming over to Interstate 79, so heads up in Sandy Lake and down towards Jackson Center, Cool Spring as well, and eventually the borough of Mercer and over towards Findlay. Big hailstones over there. Also some decent-sized hailstones in northeastern Trumbull and also in northwestern parts of Trumbull, close to Farmington and over towards Bristol as well along Route 88. And the hailstones are also quite large I should say, once you get over into Geauga County, northern parts of Portage County. The tornado threat this evening over the next couple of hours. So I've talked about the hail. I've talked about the threat for wind. The tornado threat is lower than those risks, but it's not zero. We have to really pay attention to this over the next couple of hours. There's a decent amount of wind shear aloft. The low-level moisture is not super high. Those dew points have come up since this morning, but they're not really high. And so the tornado risk is mitigated a little bit by the lack of really juicy, moist air. But we do have a lot of wind energy above our heads, so we got to pay attention to that threat over the next couple of hours. But by far and away, the hail and the strong thunderstorm winds are our major threats here in the 5 and 6 o'clock hours. And just to reiterate the timing of things, I think the next 2 hours will be our busiest couple of hours of this evening. I'm expecting once this main line clears our area to the south, probably close to 7 or 7:30 or something like that, we should be pretty much in the clear for the rest of the evening at that point. All right, so again, we have severe thunderstorm warnings out for Trumbull and Mercer until 5:45. Considerable threat for large hail with these storms, along with strong winds. If you're watching us downstream in parts of Mahoning County, or all of Mahoning County, I should say, and also Lawrence County, I would expect you'll be put under severe thunderstorm warnings before too much longer, probably before the bottom of the hour here, if not maybe 5:40 or 5:45. And again, if you're just joining us, the plan here is we're going to run this live stream until about 20 till 6, and then I've got to stop it so we can get ready for our newscast at 6 o'clock. I encourage everyone in Northeast Ohio and Western PA, if you're in our greater viewing area, tune in to our newscast at 6 o'clock. We'll have plenty of weather coverage. You can watch us on TV, but you can also watch us on the Storm Tracker 21 app, the 21 News app, WFMJ.com. If you're a Peacock subscriber that you pay for the tier that you can watch local TV stations on, you can also watch us on Peacock during the newscast coming up at 6, and then we'll hop back on the on-air, or I should say online live stream like you're watching right now. We'll hop back on at about 6:30 if we still have ongoing severe weather at that point. So that's the general plan here for the next hour and 15 minutes. You know, we've got a newscast coming up at 6 that we newscast. So heads up, everyone in Trumbull, hail threats we've seen in some time around here. We're going to have hailstones at least an inch in diameter, if not an inch and a half, or even close to 2 inches in some places. So one of those hail cores, let's stop the loop on this. One of those hail cores is entering Trumbull right now. It's right in here. So just north of Newton Falls, the Southington area, Braceville, coming into Warren here before too much longer. That's a lot of hail right there. Also big hailstones over in Mercer County, in the central part of Mercer County around Fredonia right now. Heads up in Mercer, Findlay, Cool Spring, eventually maybe down towards Grove City. That hail core is primarily just around or just to the south and east of Greenville. Any hail that's closer to Greenville and up towards the Crawford County line right now is a little bit smaller, but big hailstones falling in central parts of Mercer County as well as parts of Trumbull County, and more hail is entering the western part of Trumbull right now. If you're watching us from Youngstown area, the 224 corridor, Boardman and Canfield, your turn will be coming. All of this activity is pushing to the south and to the east. There's a look at the radar loop. Now, I think the farther west in our viewing area you are, once you're down into Mahoning and Columbiana counties, the smaller the risk may be. A lot of this activity may graze or miss places like Beloit and Sebring and Hanoverton and kind of the western part of Mahoning and Columbiana. It may be a close shave there, but it may be a lot of it aimed just to your east. But I think we are going to get a pretty good storm coming down 422 into Niles, into Warren, and coming down towards Youngstown here over the next half an hour to 45 minutes, coming into Sharon momentarily as well. So everyone along the Interstate 80 corridor, the weather's about to get worse here, 5:20 to 5:40 this afternoon into this evening. And again, if you're watching us down in Columbiana County, you have higher chances of strong storms the farther east you are in Mahoning, Columbiana counties. The farther west you are along Route 30, closer to the Stark County line, perhaps your chances are a little bit lower of severe weather out there. Let's go back over to Mercer County, and we'll stop the loop and show you this big thunderstorm with large hailstones around the Route 19 corridor, Interstate 79. All of this through here is big hail, along with strong winds, but primarily a big hail threat, that's for sure. So you got to, stay safe from this. These are the kind of hailstones that can, especially if they're wind-driven, they can dent things. They can put dents in your siding, perhaps, and you don't want your car necessarily sitting out in an environment like this. So again, if you have a car sitting outside pretty much anywhere in our viewing area this evening, but especially in the near term in Mercer and Trumbull counties, a good idea if you have a garage or a carport or something like that, it's a good idea to protect that. So the Weather Service is going to continue this severe thunderstorm warning for the large hail and wind threat until 5:45. The Weather Service in Cleveland also noting the big core that's coming across the 422 corridor right now, coming out of the Parkman area and coming right down 422, heads up in the 534 corridor around Southington. This is coming right down the pike towards Champion and Warren and Leavittsburg as well. Up near the Trumbull County Fairgrounds, we're getting some hailstones up there, some hail around Mecca and Mosquito Lake as we speak. And again, this is not just the small pea-size stuff. This is stuff that is at least quarter size, if not a little bit larger. And then we also have all of this heavy activity over into Mercer County. If you're watching from Mercer County right now, the worst of this, let's back this up just a little bit and show you where this is heading. The worst of this crossing 62, Route 19, and Interstate 79 right now. So this strong hail core will be primarily a problem for eastern parts of Mercer County here between now and about 5:35, 5:40. Once you're north of that hail core and closer to the Crawford County line, it's raining, but no severe weather threat from the hail once you're far enough to the north, closer to Crawford County. Everything kind of really exploded pretty rapidly, as expected, as these storms encountered an environment that was warm, sort of kind of humid, with a lot of wind energy aloft. We had a cap overhead, a capping inversion. The air was getting warmer as you go up in height through the atmosphere. That cap has since eroded enough that these storms were able to tap into a pretty favorable environment as they emerged off of Lake Erie and came down to the south and to the east. All right, so resetting here, if you're just joining us, we started this live stream about 15 minutes ago. I'm Chief Meteorologist Eric Wilhelm with 21 News, WFMJ. We're the NBC affiliate in Youngstown, and we're doing this live stream to cover severe weather here in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to take a break from the live stream as we head towards 6 o'clock for our newscast, and then we'll hop back on at 6:30 here online if needed. We have severe thunderstorm warnings out for the I-80 corridor in all of Trumbull and Mercer counties, and we have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for all the counties in yellow that you see here. It's pretty much all of eastern Ohio and western PA with the exception of a few lakeshore counties where the threat has already passed. This watch runs for a lot of the evening, but they'll start shaving counties from this from north to south as this line continues, sinking to the south and to the east. But everyone in our television viewing area is now under a severe thunderstorm watch for the next handful of hours, and we have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. And those warnings run until 5:45 for all of Trumbull and Mercer County as well, except for the extreme northern parts of those counties. Those are the warnings as we speak. And the one in Trumbull County does have a considerable tag on it, and for good reason. We're watching some pretty big hailstones coming out of this storm, or a couple of different cores. One near Cortland, or just north of Cortland right now, up around Mosquito Lake and around the Mecca area. That's this one right here. Another coming into the Southington area. Our hail algorithm that I'm displaying here is a couple of minutes behind a lot of times. It's what we call a derived product. So it's not live. Just off screen I've got a radar algorithm on a different program that's a little more up to date. And so this is always a minute or two or three behind what we're showing you on this live stream. But yeah, hailstones right now over Mosquito Lake and around the Mecca area, and heading back towards Southington and over towards Garrettsville as well in Portage County. And so for good reason, the Weather Service has put a considerable tag on that severe thunderstorm warning in Trumbull County. All right. Just want to bear with me for just a moment while I click a couple of things here to make sure our stream is going out where it needs to be, and it looks like it is. All right. Thanks to everyone who is joining, whether you're watching on Facebook or on my YouTube channel. We started this live stream about 20 minutes ago, and we're going to go for another about 15 minutes and then take a little bit of a break in advance of our 6 o'clock newscast. Severe thunderstorm warnings currently for Trumbull and Mercer. I'm expecting additional warnings to be issued for Mahoning and Lawrence here before too much longer, probably as we head into the second half of the 5 o'clock hour and closer to 5:45, 6 o'clock. Right now, we have the warnings out for Trumbull and Mercer. Someone on Facebook mentioning, big hailstones in Bristolville. Yeah, that looks like... Thanks to Jennifer for posting that picture on my Facebook. Those hailstones that she's posting in Bristolville look about an inch to an inch and a half in diameter. So yeah, some big hailstones. And as I've been mentioning a few times on this live stream and on my social media earlier on this afternoon, these kinds of hailstones are not real common around here. We get a lot of pea-size hail around here, even up to nickel size. Quarters and larger happen, but not very often. Once we get up to an inch and a half and even close to 2 inches in diameter, that's pretty rare for eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania. Those size of hailstones are a little more common certainly out in the middle of the country, but the setup we have today is one that can produce pretty big hailstones, something that can certainly happen when you have a lot of dry air at a certain level, the atmosphere, and you have a lot of wind energy, a lot of energy just in general in the atmosphere, you can produce a lot of fast rising motion going up. It encounters that sub-freezing air, and once those hailstones get big enough, gravity can't hold them up anymore, and they fall to the ground. And yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing out there today. I want to show you visually just how tall these storms are. I mentioned, these storms get tall and then they can produce the hail. Let's take a little slice here of this core over Mercer County in particular. I'll show you kind of a 3D look at this storm. And you can see in the yellows especially, we're getting reflectivity values that are pretty high, up to about 40,000 feet. That's well above the freezing level. Airplanes fly at about 30,000 feet, 35,000 feet. So that's really high up in the atmosphere to get a reflectivity that looks like that. These brighter colors getting way up there. And when you see that, that's not only a signal for heavy rain, but some hail as well. And we can do the same thing over here in Trumbull County. Big, tall thunderstorms over here. Yeah, look at this core in particular around the Southington area right now. We're getting some reflectivity values up to 55,000 feet. That's what we call an overshooting top that you see right here. This is where the storm is getting so tall that it's trying to punch into the stratosphere a little bit. And when you see something like that, that's a sign that we have a very tall, healthy thunderstorm that is producing hail very efficiently at this time. Getting some more pictures. This one from Fowler Township showing some pea-sized hail. Thanks to Neil for sharing that. Again, no warnings in Columbiana County, Mahoning County, and Lawrence County just yet, but I would expect new warnings to be issued here before too much longer, probably at least for the eastern part and the central part of Mahoning County, and probably all of Lawrence County. You'll be put under a warning here before too much longer. Again, down in Columbiana County, your best chance of severe weather is the farther east you go. I'm expecting lower chances of severe weather once you go over, say, west of Salem and western Mahoning County. I would include in this in a place like Beloit, Sebring, heading down towards Hanoverton. Your chances of severe weather in those locations appear to be a little bit lower than out to the east, closer to Lisbon, and especially over towards Columbiana, New Middletown, over towards East Palestine, and even down towards East Liverpool. And then again, once you're over into Western PA, your chances are pretty good that you're going to see some pretty nasty storms here over the next couple of hours in all of Lawrence County. And again, I would include the eastern part of Mahoning in that. We'll put a loop on our radar here to show you the general motion. Everything's moving at a decent clip, but we've got some hefty rainfall rates here. It's bad news. We've had too much rain in our area of late, so you don't like to see any heavy rain. Thankfully, things are moving, and this isn't going to be an all-night affair. In any one location, you're going to see heavy rain and very vivid lightning and some hailstones for 10, 15, 20 minutes in most locations. Then the worst of it will be over. It may rain a little while longer, but the worst of it won't last that long. But it's all bad news. The good news is when it comes to our forecast, we will have drier conditions this week. We're going to have a couple of chances of rain during this week, but probably no episodes of really heavy rain, and severe weather threats look to be minimal during the upcoming work week. So that certainly is some good news. Let's head back up into our northern areas. We'll start over in Mercer County. And the strong hail core in the eastern part of the county is right here, north and east of Mercer, north and east of Findlay, so it's crushing Jackson Center right now. Route 62, Route 173, 965, the Sandy Lake area, getting crushed with some big hailstones right now. And we're also getting big hailstones out in Trumbull County, where our severe thunderstorm warning is also out until 5:45. Yeah, seeing a lot of evidence of some decent-sized hailstones still around the Cortland area, heading over towards Route 7 here in the eastern part of Trumbull County, and also in the Champion, Warren, Howland area up towards the fairgrounds. We're seeing some pretty decent hailstones there as well. And there's another hail core near Braceville coming into Leavittsburg right now. These hailstones, they mean some business. This is the stuff that is not just the pea size, little candy coating kind of stuff. This is the stuff that's more of an inch to an inch and a half or so in diameter. Those are big hailstones for our area, that is for sure. We'll see at 5:45 what they do with the current warnings. We've got another 15 minutes to go on these warnings in Trumbull and Mercer counties. They may have to extend the warnings, especially for the southern tier of Trumbull and the southern tier of Mercer, because these storms may not clear those counties by 5:45. All right. In fact, we're getting a new warning out, just issued. What did they issue there? That was just a continuing statement. All right. So the Weather Service is just going to continue that warning until 5:45 in Mercer. I thought they issued something new, but it was just a statement saying the warning will continue. We're starting to get some rain coming down into Mahoning County right now. Nothing severe, but we are getting wet now around Austintown and North Jackson and heading out towards Lake Milton. But the heavier weather is off to the north around Braceville, around Leavittsburg, Cortland area getting crushed with some heavy rain and some hailstones right now. Howland, Warren, over towards Fowler and the Route 7 corridor as well. I'm going to look at the official observations at the Youngstown Warren Regional Airport in Vienna to see if there's anything of note in the observations. The Weather Service passing along a hail report of 1 inch in diameter. Where was that? That was in Cortland. Yeah, the Weather Service has gotten a spotter report of 1 inch diameter hail in the Cortland area. Looking at the official observations at the Youngstown Warren Airport, nothing of note in the most recent observations, but we'll be getting some fresh ones there from our official reporting station at the Youngstown Warren Airport here in the next couple of minutes, so we'll keep an eye on that. Big hail and strong winds. Make sure everything's tied down. If you're downwind of this and you still have some time to secure those loose outdoor items, that's a good idea. If you're watching from anywhere, especially in central and eastern parts of Mahoning County, extreme southeastern Trumbull, where the worst of the weather has not pushed in yet, anyone over in Lawrence County, you have a little bit of time here to make sure those outdoor items are secure. Trampolines, toys that are sitting out, even trash cans can be carried away if we get some strong winds. If you're just joining us on the live stream, the tornado risk this evening is lower than the hail and general thunderstorm risk, but it's not zero. The air is not super moist in the low levels. It's moistened up quite a bit since last night and this morning, but it's not super moist, and that's one thing that works against tornado formation. But we have a lot of wind energy, some wind shear aloft, and so it's not impossible that we see some sort of spin-up tornado over the next couple of hours. But by far and away, the bigger threats are the hailstones and the strong gusty winds as well. Let's actually start looking at a little bit of the wind data off the Pittsburgh radar source. We're looking for brighter greens here. That would be indicative of stronger winds. We're pretty far from the radar source in Trumbull County, so don't see a real strong signature there. Don't see a lot of evidence of radar indications anyway of real strong winds over in Mercer. But no doubt there's at least some gusty winds, and there's certainly some hailstones in there. So I think we're seeing large hail right now in the Warren area, just pushing east of Howland and just to the south and east of Cortland, coming into Yankee Lake, heads up in Orangeville, heads up over towards Sharon and Sharpsville. Hailstones happening right now, and bigger ones may be incoming. And we're still getting some hailstones now east of I-79 in Mercer County, and that's about to head into Venango County over in PA. So this hail core over here is getting set to exit our viewing area in extreme eastern parts of Mercer County. Down into Mahoning County, all is fairly quiet right now. We've got some rain pushing into northern areas, but the severe weather is just off to your north. But heads up, Mineral Ridge and Youngstown and Hubbard. A lot of this is going to slide your way. I would put Austintown in that. I would put Poland and Boardman in that camp as well. The farther west you are in Mahoning County, and especially down into Columbiana County, your severe weather risks are probably a little bit lower, especially, say, west of Salem, over towards Alliance along 62. Along Route 30 as you go west of Lisbon, and especially west of, say, Guilford Lake, your severe weather threat may be lower out there compared to some areas to the east. But yeah, this is coming your way, certainly along the Interstate 80 corridor in Mercer County, in the southeastern part of Trumbull County, Churchill, Liberty, the greater Youngstown area, again, Hubbard as well. Right now, the worst of it is closer to Warren and heading over towards Howland and Vienna, Yankee Lake, Brookfield, Hartford. But it's all sliding to the south and to the east. All right, Jim on Facebook mentioning hail in Cortland. Anna mentioned it hailed in Howland. Viewer mentioning hail in Leavittsburg. Wanda, who's right by the airport, mentions the heavy rain and but there's no wind or hail as of a couple of minutes ago near the airport in Vienna. Pea-sized hail in Champion, reports Mike on Facebook. Getting a lot of pictures sent in to us, especially on Facebook right now, of hailstones. Some of it is pea-sized, some of it is certainly a little bit larger. Thanks to everyone who's been chiming in. You can reach out to us on social media, leave some comments on our streams here, whether you're watching me on YouTube or on Facebook. We'll get a lot of comments during these live streams, and I can't see them all. They go by pretty fast, but they're all valuable, and certainly when time warrants, time allows, I'll go back and look at a lot of those, that's for sure. All right, so again, we're going to stop the stream here in about 5 minutes so we can get ready for our 6 o'clock newscast. I would encourage everyone who is in the Youngstown area and in our television market in general to watch our 6 o'clock newscast, whether on your TV or on your devices. You can watch us at 6. We'll have plenty of weather coverage for that half an hour. And then at 6:30 at the bottom of the hour, if conditions warrant, we'll hop back on the live stream here in the same place you're watching it. But we are going to take a break here coming up in 5 or 6 minutes as we get ready for our 6 o'clock newscast. Severe thunderstorm warnings in effect until 5:45, another 8 minutes for much of Trumbull, especially southern and central areas, and much of Mercer, with the exception of the northern areas up towards the Crawford County line. Additional warnings, no doubt, will be issued for parts of Mahoning and Lawrence County as we head towards the 6 o'clock hour. It remains to be seen down in Columbiana County, especially again in those central and western areas. It remains to be seen whether you're going to have much of a risk out of this. Your chances will go up as you get closer to the PA state line over towards East Palestine and New Middletown and Lowellville and places like that. And certainly you're going to have to really pay attention to this if you're watching from over towards New Wilmington, the Newcastle area, and heading down towards Elwood City and over towards Slippery Rock and Grove City. All of this is going to be tracking your way here for the rest of the 5 o'clock hour and into the 6 o'clock hour as well. So far, we haven't seen much evidence of really strong winds. No doubt there's some pockets of pretty strong wind, but not seeing a lot of evidence of widespread strong winds. It's more of a hail threat along with the heavy rain. But we got to watch out for those winds, certainly, as the next hour or two progresses. It's something that can certainly happen. You can get some strong downbursts coming out of these storms. And you oftentimes, if you watch my coverage a lot, I talk about wind being wind, and just a reminder, trees and things like that don't care whether wind came from a tornado or not. Everybody thinks when there's strong winds it had to be a tornado. The vast majority of the time it's not. Our region actually doesn't see that many tornadoes. We see them, of course, but it's always a low percentage chance that a tornado is going to occur. Most of our wind problems, of course, occur from thunderstorm winds, which can be equivalent to EF0 and EF1 tornadoes. Once you get up into EF2, EF3 range, it's a little more uncommon to see those kinds of winds in thunderstorms. But you can certainly see EF0 and EF1 equivalent winds out of thunderstorms with a fair amount of frequency. All right, so they are going to issue a new warning to extend beyond 545. The original one is set to expire at 545 in Mercer, but they just issued a new one until 6:30 for Mercer County, and this is basically the central and southern areas. So you're in the warning in Sharon, Lackawanna, Mercer, Jackson Center, Grove City, places all throughout that area until 6:30. New warning in effect for those locations. The Trumbull County warning is set to expire here at 5:45. They may have to issue a new one here in about 5 minutes to cover the extreme southern part of Trumbull County and probably downstream into parts of Mahoning as well. This new warning that was issued until 6:30 also covers the northern half of Lawrence County, basically from Newcastle on north towards the Mercer County line. All right, so we're going to go about another 4 or 5 minutes on our live stream, and then we'll get ready for our 6 o'clock newscast. Again, you don't have to watch us on TV if you're not a cable or satellite subscriber. Watch our newscast on your smart devices, WFMJ.com, the Storm Tracker 21 app, the 21 News app as well. There are many, many places to watch our newscast, and I would encourage everyone to do so. We'll have plenty of weather coverage in our newscast coming up at 6. Then we'll hop back on the live stream at 6:30 if conditions warrant. We're getting a few power flashes here in our downtown Youngstown studios with all the lightning just off to our north. Look at the prolific lightning that's occurring just to our north. So all these plus signs on our lightning display, those are positive voltage lightning strikes. It's lightning that has a voltage that is higher than just your standard lightning does. They, of course, are more dangerous because they have a higher voltage, but positive voltage strikes tend to hit things on the ground more often. And a lot of thunderstorms where you see a really big cluster of those plus signs, those are usually, that's indicative of a very tall thunderstorm, and a lot of times those are the kind of storms that bring us big hailstones. So when you see a lot of plus signs on our radar display, that's a sign of a very healthy and dangerous thunderstorm. That is for sure. All right, so down in Mahoning County, we are getting some rain now around Youngstown and around Austintown. Starting to rain a little bit closer to the Boardman area as well and down towards Mill Creek Park, but no severe weather just yet down there. If you're watching from the western part of Mahoning and the western part of Columbiana, your severe weather risks are not zero in those locations, but I think they are a little bit lower than off to our east. In eastern parts of Columbiana, eastern parts and central parts of Mahoning, and then certainly into all of Lawrence and Mercer counties. On Twitter, Michael from Southington showing me a picture of some decent-sized hail there. Thank you for that. You know, the hail pictures and notifications we are getting, it ranges from kind of the routine pea-sized stuff to hailstones that are definitely a little bit larger. And it's those larger ones that are prompting the warnings primarily. Yes, we have some wind, but the hail threat is definitely substantial as this activity continues pushing through. I think the threat in most of our area, in most of our TV viewing area, will be during the rest of the 5 o'clock hour into the 6 o'clock hour, and then we're going to start to see things waning. I think as we hit 7 o'clock and later, from north to south, the overall risk will start diminishing at that point. This main line is generally where our biggest risks are. Off to the west, there could be some scattered activity popping here, but a lot of this is going to try to miss us to the south if it becomes tall enough. It may be more of a problem closer to Steubenville and Wheeling and over towards Pittsburgh, perhaps. Maybe Carrollton eventually. But that's why I'm saying that the risk for severe weather is a little bit lower in the western part of our TV viewing area. All right, here as we hit to about 5:45 here in a moment, we're going to take a break from our live streaming coverage. Watch us at 6 o'clock on 21 News for the latest weather information. We'll have all the warnings and everything you need to know. And then again, we'll hop back on the stream here at 6:30 for the very latest. So thank you for watching, and we'll probably see you here in just a little bit.